Yo, just a quick disclaimer real quick before this video actually starts. Everything blows up. Yeah. I'm cringe. I'm so sorry. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm just gonna walk away. I'm sorry. Sorry. All right, all jokes aside, you know, if you want to consider that a joke, here we have another. Why do I do these things? Alright, I'm just gonna get into the video. Before I actually do though, if you enjoy this video or find it helpful or entertaining in any way, please consider subscribing. It's free, quick, easy, and you can always unsubscribe afterwards if you don't enjoy my content. Which, perfectly acceptable. But don't do it, because I said so. And you wouldn't do it, you're too nice. Alright, so let's get into the build. So, first things that you probably noticed, the armamentarium, my sword, and how ugly my titan looks. We're using the armamentarium. I am not saying it wrong for the rest of this video. Armamentarium. We are using this to get extra grenades, and we're using the lament to get our boss DPS off, because let's be honest, this is probably one of the best DPS for bosses in the game right now. But in order for all of this to make sense, we need to get into the Stasis skill tree, and here we go. Behemoth Titan subclass. So first things you must know is Cryoclasm as well as Tectonic Harvest. Tectonic Harvest, shattering a Stasis crystal creates a Stasis shard. The shard grants melee energy when picked up by you or your allies. Cryoclasm enables a longer and more powerful slide. Sliding into Stasis crystals or frozen targets shatters them in any nearby frozen targets. So using our two aspects, we are going to be using our crystals to destroy everything and make everything explode with our 3 fragments that we are using. Whisper of Fissures increases the damage and size of bursts of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. Whisper of Shards, shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. And Whisper of Hedrons, gain a bonus to weapon damage after freezing someone with stasis. So based on all those stasis elements within our build, basically everything will be exploding from our crystal, and we will be getting our regeneration from our melee as well as our grenade due to the explosions from the crystals. Now the other piece of the puzzle with this build is Warmind cells. If you couldn't tell from the thumbnail. Basically, we're using Warmind cells plus our Glacier grenade to cause havoc everywhere in the solar system. I am cringe. I am sorry. Our Warmind cells paired alongside our Glacier grenade are going to be the main components of this build. They will be our ad control, they will be our DPS, and they will be our salvation as well. Before we get into the Warmind cell mods though, let me go over my weapons real quick. We are using the Heritage. You can use whatever primary you want, preferably if you have something with Demolitionist for your primary or your secondary. That would be ideal, but it is not required. Another gun I am using is the Ikelos SMG. You need to use an Ikelos weapon to make this build work, because the Ikelos weapons are the source of using your Warmind cells and actually generating the Warmind cells. For me, I particularly chose the Ikelos SMG, but you can choose any other Ikelos weapon you want. You can use a shotgun, you can use a sniper, you can use 7 Seraph guns, such as the other SMG, as well as the LMG and the hand cannon, and whatever else I missed out on. And of course, I am using the Lament or our heavy weapon, because this is our source of DPS. If you have the Eyes of Tomorrow, that would also be amazing, or any other weapon that is good for DPS for bosses. Moving away from weapons, we are going into our stats. 47 mobility, 100 resilience, 59 recovery, 41 discipline, 50 intellect, and 50 strength. Now let me just make a fair note that stats do not matter unless for 2 particular things that I will go over. Discipline, you may want it, but it is not necessary due to your grenade recharge rate that you get from destroying Glacier crystals from the fragment Whisper of Shards. So discipline isn't necessarily required, but it could be very, very useful alongside the armamentarium to get those grenades back way more consistently. Now, if you don't know what the armamentarium does, it just basically, it gives you another grenade. That's all it does. It gives you another grenade. It's very useful. But if you don't want to use the armamentarium, or you don't have it, there's the Icefall Mantle that you can use as well. If you're going to be using that is basically a walking tank version of this build. You are going to be getting your overshield, and you are going to be getting constant overshields over and over again from using the Icefall Mantle. But the main focus that I am going over is the armamentarium. So extra grenade. That is all there is to it. And that is basically it for stats. Stats are just personal preference, in all honesty. If you have any questions about stats, I'd be more than happy to help. But other than that, I'm going to move on to mods. So mods that we are using is primarily focused on everything Warmind cell, especially this one's my favorite. This was so fun. Grasp of the Warmind. You can pick up, carry, and throw Warmind cells. Once thrown, a Warmind cell cannot be picked up again. Now, what it does not actually say is that once you throw it at an enemy, it sticks to them. which is amazing. So you can generate that Warmind cell, pick it up, and chuck it at an enemy. The other Warmind cells that we are using is Global Reach. Warmind cells you create, affect, and damage targets at a greater distance. That is another version, or another reason why this build is practically a tactical nuke. And the last Warmind cell mod that we are using is Fireteam Medic. Destroying a Warmind cell creates a burst of healing for you and allies near you. This is the survivability aspect of the Warmind cells. Now, if you're using Icefall Mantle, that just makes you even more of a brute, but we're not going over that. The way we're generating Charge of Light stacks is with Swift Charge. Become Charge of Light by rapidly defeating combatants with our SMG or Sidearm and Pulse Rifle. And what we're using our Charge of Light stacks for is Lucent Blade. While Charge of Light dealing damage with a sword gives you a bonus sword damage for 5 seconds, consuming 1 stack of Charge of Light. So our sword will absolutely go to town on any boss that we so come across. And that is pretty much it for mods, or at least the important mods. Other ones I'm using is Finisher Final Blows create an overshield, but at the cost of super energy. I'm also using Sniper damage resistance, which just decreases long range damage dealt to me. And I'm also using Momentum Transfer. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. That is also very nice for generating melee energy. And I'm also using the hands-on just cause it's an available spot, as well as this, which I should be replacing with this. And yeah, that's all there is to the build. If you have been watching the gameplay, you've been noticing that I've been using the grenade and Warmind cells to actually clear out all the ads at a rapid pace. Other than the Warmind cells and the grenades, you can play around with whatever you want. You just need to be able to have a consistent way to get Warmind cells, because the grenade will just come around all the time due to your aspects and fragment on Titan. Another thing I like to do with this build is I like to throw the Warmind cell near the glacier grenades and blow them up together, so it's just one big nuke. It's fun to play around with, even if it isn't the most ideal way to use the both of them. It's fun, and I like it. Anyway, yeah, that's gonna wrap up the video. I hope you find as much enjoyment with this build as I did, because this is honestly my favorite build my most favorite build I've ever worked around. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. I hope this was enjoyable, if not at least helpful. But yeah, sorry, I'll go now. I'll stop talking. Peace. Oh, actually, real quick, thank you for the support. Okay, now I'm gone. I love you all. Peace.